Rule 5. Build on substance, not on overtone. From a Workbook for Arguments by Morrow and Weston. The objectives for this rule. Learn the importance of offering real reasons in your arguments rather than simply emotionally charged language. You'll have the opportunity to analyze an example of an argument using emotionally charged language so that you can discover its shortcomings. And then you'll get to consider the problems with using emotionally charged language rather than reasons in an argument, as well as recognize the problems with using emotionally charged language to express your opponent's position. So we're going to talk about why it's important not to use emotionally charged language to present your position, and then also why it's important not to use emotionally charged language to present your opponent's position. All right, let's move on. Offer actual reasons. I'll say it again. Offer actual reasons. It's important to offer actual reasons in your argument rather than using emotionally charged language that are pretending to be reasons. Okay, here's an example. Having so disgracefully allowed her once proud passenger railroads to fade into obscurity, America is honor-bound to restore them now. This is not what we want to do. All right, well, let's look at why. This is supposed to be an argument for restoring the passenger rail system in our country. But notice that it offers no evidence for this conclusion whatsoever, just a bunch of emotionally loaded words. Did passenger rail fade because of something Americans did or didn't do? What was disgraceful about this? Many once proud institutions outlived their times after all, and we're not obliged to restore them all. So, what is it that's special about rail? And what does it mean to say America is honor-bound to do this? Have promises been made and broken? If so, who made these promises and when did they make them? Okay. You see, the problem with emotion is that a lot of legitimate things can be said for restoring passenger rail, especially in a time when ecological and economic costs of highways are becoming enormous. The problem with the argument that we looked at is that it doesn't say any of these reasons. Instead, it leaves the emotional charge of the words to do all of the work. And sort of following from this, it doesn't actually end up doing any work at all. We're kind of left exactly where we started. We don't have any new information to tell us why it's important for America to restore their rail lines. Overtones may sometimes persuade people, even when they shouldn't. We all know this. This is a huge part of our public discourse right now. But remember that in this class, we're looking for actual concrete evidence and real reasons. It's also important not to make your argument look good by using emotionally loaded words to label the position that you're arguing against. Okay? Generally, people advocate a position for serious and sincere reasons. This, I think, is maybe not always the case in our current discourse, but generally speaking, you need to give your opponent the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're advocating for their position for serious and sincere reasons. Given this, you should try to figure out their view, try to understand their reasons, even if you disagree with every single one. You have to understand where it is they're starting from. In general, if you can't imagine how anyone could hold the view that you're attacking, it probably means that you just don't understand it yet. This is, anyway, the ideal that we're looking for. Okay, to review. In this video, we've had the opportunity to learn the importance of offering real reasons in your arguments rather than simply emotionally charged language. We also got to analyze an example of an argument using emotionally charged language to discover its shortcomings. And then we got to consider the problems with using emotionally charged language rather than reasons in an argument. And finally, we got to recognize the problem with using emotionally charged language to express your opponent's positions.